You're listening to the Mistress of None podcast with Erin Harks.
Hello, everybody. This is Erin Harks with the Mistress of None podcast. Hope this finds you well. I am exhausted right now, but I just wanted to get this done with while I was still upright. I just got home from a very early show supporting my friends Little Saints at the Saratoga Winery for their EP release. We have some bandmates in common, and I'll be sharing that stuff with you guys if you want to check them out. They are very good. But we had a wedding last night in Massachusetts, and we all got home pretty late and then had to get up pretty early to go do that. You should instantly feel worse for me than the guys in my band because I'm like 1,000 years older than they are. So whenever they try to complain about being tired, I remind them that I don't care. Just kidding. Anyway, not really. Anyway, so I'm going to bang this out real quick, and then I'm going to take a little nappy poo. I had a really great interview with Reese Fulmer. Reese Fulmer and he's got the Carriage House band, but I mean, he's a fantastic solo. He's got some great musicians that he has played with. He is also one of the musicians that's going to be on my inaugural showcase at Caffe Lena, which is a week from today. I don't know if you've got your tickets yet. If you haven't, go do that now at erinharks.com. I am so excited for this series and just honored and overwhelmed at the opportunity to perform at such an amazing place. And I did warn you guys a while back that I would be repeating myself and be talking about this nonstop. And I'm just keeping my promise to you. But I promise after this and after the comedy special comes out, it's going to be far more random and far less repetitious. I promise it's going to be fun. I hope it's still fun. And if it's not, no one's forcing you to listen. You've already listened this far, so I'm sure it still counts on my list, on my numbers, on my roster or whatever, my score sheet. I don't know. I'm so tired. I'm making much less sense than usual. I was going to say I'm making no sense, but that's kind of a common theme. Anyway, all right. Enough of the rambling. I'm going to get right to the interview. It was a really fun time. It was kind of cool to be at Caffe Lena when they weren't open and just take in the room. And I'm just so excited for this showcase. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we talk about why we both think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just mostly excited to be working with other singer-songwriters in the Capital Region and kind of immerse myself back into the original music, further away from the covers. And it's kind of nice to be welcomed back, even though it's a whole new crew of people now. It's a really vibrant scene around here. And I advise you all to check it out whenever you can, whenever it suits you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of really incredible songwriters. And I'm blessed to be able to work with and play with a lot of them. And it's going to be something fun that you're all going to enjoy. So check that out. Go to my website now. Get some tickets. There's also a live stream if you live far away, but I'm not sharing that link until after because I want to make sure that some of these lazy-ass jabronis around here are going to go to the show first. I guess if you heard this, the cat's out of the bag. But I'm not sharing the link. I want to make sure that you did everything in your power to get there in person first. Oh, I'm fun, aren't I? All right. Well, this interview was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. This is Reese Fulmer, who will be appearing with me at Caffe Lena 1 week from today for Lena Go Round, the singer-songwriter showcase. So enjoy. This is Mistress of None, and I'll be right back.
You're listening to the Mistress of None podcast with Erin Harks.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Erin Harks with the Mistress of None. I am here today with Reese Fulmer. Reese, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for being had. I appreciate this. We are here at the historic, legendary Caffe Lena,
Yes,
which you get to work here.
I do, and this is actually one of my favorite times at Lena's.
It's when no one else is here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the little quiet time in the room. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And well, I mean, all the lights are on now, but if you turn the lights off and open the blinds, then you get the real dark listening room look. It's a very nice place to come and open up.
We're going to have to check that
Yeah.
out after we're done
Yeah.
recording. I didn't get the chance to see that yet. I mean, I used to love being the only person at my job, but that was when I had a shitty day job working for the county. So that was much different reasons.
Yeah.
It's just because nobody would talk to me.
It's here when when other people are here, it is very nice still.
Yeah.
But there's something about the quiet room that's
I
pretty
can
cool.
imagine. I mean, this place, obviously, I can't imagine anybody listening, because I know my viewership isn't that wide, but anybody listening that doesn't know what Caffe Lena is, if you don't, just do yourself a favor and come see a show here.
Yeah.
One of the best shows I ever got to see here was Richard Thompson.
Nice.
I am obsessed.
Yeah.
I've talked about him. Everybody knows. Obsessed. Could use a restraining order probably. But like the fact that I was so close to him in all of his majesty is just, I mean, this place is magical on its own, but to see like one of your favorite artists here is just incredible. So Reese is an incredible singer-songwriter, musician in the Capital Region. I would like to say we somewhat met. You reached out to me a while back. You were trying to start like a collaborative or a cooperative kind of thing. And truth be told, it was like, I think it was just bad timing for me because I was like super busy, but I was interested, but I also wasn't familiar enough with you yet, like full disclosure. And since then, not that I expect you to be flattered or anything by this, but like since then I'm like, holy shit, this kid is hustling his ass off. And
Thank you.
It's impressive what you've been doing. Tell us a little bit about.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you brought that up. I had totally forgotten that was how we interacted first. Yeah, I mean that I won't get too much into that, but it was sort of bad timing for every the group of us that was involved in trying to start something, because it was born of having so much time during the pandemic, and it was just like a bunch of friends on Zoom calls and stuff like that. And then once everything started opening up again and we all had stuff to do and everybody else was gigging and I was starting to gig as well, it just kind of like fell by the wayside a little bit. So it
kind of came back with a vengeance when we all started working again.
Everybody was doing stuff again. But since then, I've been doing, my own thing a little bit more, which is nice. And it's a beautiful scene to do it in. Like
you're speaking very modestly for what you have been up to. I mean, you have the Carriage House Band.
Yes.
All of its different incarnations. And I've seen the roster. I'm sorry, I did kind of poach one of the gentlemen that you had played with regularly.
Who's that?
You were playing with Andy.
Oh,
Arnold
sure. Well, he was
bit.
playing with you, I think, before.
I know, but
yeah,
he was playing with you as well. And then like I would see like things pop up, and I'd be like, "Well, Reese can't have him that day." I'm sorry. Not that you're hurting for musicians. I mean, you're playing with like Jimmy Woodall of Dark Honey, Chris Carey, who is just.
He's the best, whatever you want him.
I saw him a year ago at a benefit we were playing at together. I think he was there with the Family Tree.
Sure.
And which is mostly Super 400, which, again, if you don't know, like, get out from under that rock. Yeah. And I walk in and he's playing drums, and I just go like, stop it. Stop. And he's like, what? I'm like, how do you also play drums?
I know.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, whatever he picks up, it's
word.
Really annoying.
I'm like mediocre at all of the different things I do, and then he's like not just playing, but he's like destroying this drum set. I'm like, just go away.
Yeah.
So I mean that says a lot about you that these people love to play with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I run a pretty relaxed band, I think, and like Andy was one of the first people that played with me, Chris and James as well, and I think that having this larger list that I can call on it makes being part of the group overall not stressful for my players, because they're not, if one of them comes to me and is like, hey, I know I said I could make that gig, but something came up, I'm going to be out of town or whatever, it's fine. Like, I got a whole bunch of other players, I'll make it work. Bummed, I won't have you on this gig, but it's all good.
Well, that's great.
And so, I think the fact that I've approached it like that early on, it let some really good players kind of buy into the group without, I didn't really have a background. I didn't have that much to say. Like, they didn't really know what it was going to be like, basically. And so if I had started right out saying, like, no, I need you here, like, I think it would have soured a little bit for them. Like, who's this kid,
Yeah, well, your comeuppance was rather swift since the pandemic. It was like,
having those players
definitely
helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the exact opposite, obviously with my band. I'm like, no, you'll make it. I don't care that it's your birthday. No, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
But like, I am just a bit more established, and so I think I that has afforded me. I have a few that I rotate out, but there's some that it's like, if they can't make it, I'm just not going to take the gig, because now we've just become very dependent on one another. For like weddings and stuff like that, it's a little bit different, but for the originals, which I don't do as much of, I'm trying to make my way back into it. For the original, so it's like, no, if Andy can't be there, Ian can't be there, I'm like, no, not doing it.
Well, and it seems like, I mean, from what I've dealt with Andy, it seems like you have, for the most part, your schedule set well in advance.
Yes.
So he'll sometimes just say, like, he'll just shoot me a spreadsheet and be like, this is my 2 months with Erin, like here,
2.
It's right. This is the rest of my year with Erin, but I'm just looking at 2 months, and so. Yeah, so I've done that a few times where I've had your schedule. I'd be like, okay, well, he can't do this,
Oh,
this,
so
and
you've
this.
seen it.
Here and there, yeah. It's it's just nice, because then I don't have to hit him up 5 times and have him say, no, I'm not available.
Yeah, I make my guys put their stuff into a calendar.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I message you and I was like, hey, that date, and they're like, no, I can't. I'm like, it's not in the calendar.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, that's like you're running a business.
Yeah,
and
you can't call 7 people just
right.
to check on one show. It's just too much work.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Just to make sure that we could come in here and sit quietly for a while, because there's so many things that happen here all the time. I just had to check the calendar and see what was on there, if space was reserved, and there's nothing different about that to what you're doing.
And having it be a time where because I'm over an hour away, so it was it's we know this. It's almost like a figure skating routine to try and figure out, because we all have such odd schedules. Like, I didn't get in until 2 a.m. I'm so tired, I want to die right now. It's like, but this is what we do. And then, like tomorrow I'll sleep probably until noon, and somebody will be like, oh, must be nice. I'm like, you have no idea. People see that, like, you play like a 3-hour show, and they're like, oh, you only worked 3 hours that day. And I'm like, all right, yeah, you think so? No, and the scheduling is such a big part of it. It's crazy. But back to the original music, like I said, I've been doing the band stuff with, the weddings and everything like that. But the reason I am tapping back into the original side of things, I've been inspired a lot by a lot of other musicians in the Capital Region, yourself included. I see the grind, I see the hustle, and I love that it's kind of not resurfacing, like it's always been there, but I love the original music, and people seem to be getting more into it. And so I have wanted to start my own singer-songwriter circle kind of thing. And I can't believe that Caffe Lena said yes, honestly. Like, I wake up every day, I'm like, did that really happen? And it did. And because this place is magical.
Well, I'm not surprised at all, but
That's see, that'll make me cry. Like, I don't need people
Yeah.
to know that
Yeah.
I have a heart. I'm so flattered by it. And so it just seemed very fitting to have you be a part of my first one.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I having Carolyn, me, and Matt up here, Matt Griffin, Carolyn Shapiro. I don't know. It'll be a very wholesome night. It'll be like really good vibes for the first one, and I have a feeling that we'll kind of we'll touch on a lot about what makes this room so special.
Oh, yeah.
Which, as a way to kick off the series and kind of highlight how this sort of like descending from the folk hootenanny style performances and like just informal original music. I think it'll be a great way to kick it off, and I hope that people will connect with it. It's interesting because how much the standard of programming in this room has been raised. It does, I think for a lot of local or regional artists, it feels really hard to get into this room now.
Yeah.
So that makes having steps to get here much more important.
Yeah.
And this is a step that's been missing, I think.
Okay.
Because we have our music school now, we have our open mics, but in terms of, and there's like from time to time there's been an open mic showcase style event, but in terms of having a little bit more time and a little bit more focused interest from an audience in this room, it's a step that's been missing, I think. And so having a series where there's just a few artists rather than a whole open mic lineup, it's a cool intermediary step, it's interesting because like Carolyn and me and you have already played full shows here.
Yeah.
Like we've sold out the room already. And so it's less, just a little nod to that one. It's for us, it's less about a step into the room. It's more about sort of inaugurating a series. But I think that as a format, it's very important.
I think so too, and I thank you so much for saying that. I mean, it was like, I'm not acting like it was, my idea. This has been done in Nashville. This has been done. It's starting to be done more in the Capital Region with like Song City and Troy, and Josh Morris has his thing up in Glens Falls. And so watching them, and again wanting to emerge, not emerge. I told you I'm tired. Immerse myself back into and endear myself to these other newer singer-songwriters and be like, hey, I used to do that and then I sold out, but now I'm back, and wanting to do it. It's so important for me to make these connections with the people. And I reached out to Scott Womer, and I reached out, I don't ask Josh anything, but I reached out to Scott to say, like, I don't want you to think, and he goes, absolutely not. The more the merrier. We need as many things as possible. And he didn't ask anything of me, but I promise, I'm not going to take somebody right before they're about to do yours. I'm not going to do it right after, like, not going to pull focus. And he was like, fine. But it was like a professional courtesy. But I think that it's just, I'm just very excited. Like, I knew that I wanted to do it in Saratoga. I saw that there wasn't one in Saratoga. And I actually asked another place, and right after I asked them, I was like, ooh, like, I really, do you think Caffe Lena would say yes, And yes, I noticed, obviously, that you have sold this room out, and that was another reason I was like, well, let's, get him again. And
Sure.
Like, it's kind of the home team starting the first one, because Carolyn volunteers here. She used to work here, but now she volunteers. She does the open mic. Matt Griffin also works here as well. And so it's like, it's like the home team. a good, I love how you said the inaugural.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just so excited about it. And like every time somebody asks me about it, I really do get like genuine emotion, which is rare for me because I'm dead inside. But this, yeah, it's just going to be such an incredible night here and such an incredible space.
I think it'll be a cool series too. I like there's you know, I just coming back to this room, it's genuinely a very special room, and it brings out things in artists that you don't see from them in other places, and I think that you'll see that, you know, probably time and time again in this series, from, you know, as you move forward through it, probably a whole bunch of people that haven't yet performed here. And
I've become very popular, by the way. I've been getting a lot of messages.
People reaching out.
Oh,
yeah.
And I said, you know what? I go, you should come check it out to make sure that it becomes a regular thing.
Yeah.
Like your
come
first,
support.
your first introduction to me should not be through a Facebook message. Like, no offense. Like, I play all the time.
Sure.
You should introduce yourself in person.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think with something like this, you know, if it's that they're like, I mean, what you said is exactly right. If they hope that it turns into something that is a cool opportunity for them to participate in, they should take part in making sure that it gets there. And showing up goes a long way. And so if they come and introduce themselves to you at the merch table in the back after one of these, that, you know, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, let's
give
not
people,
all. Let's.
Yeah,
don't bombard me.
Right. No, but
I know I'm very
show
careful
up
how
to
I
the
say
things,
that because then, you know, I get somebody that'll show up. I'll be like, "Oh, sweetie, no,
Well,
still no." But
yeah, that's tough.
But I just, you know, I see these people, and I kind of like I recognize the names and stuff. But I'm like, and I also, I've had this like, not argument, but discussion with people before. I had somebody, he was a troll, not even worth mentioning, but he was like, oh, she never goes to other people's shows. I was like, when the f- am I supposed to go to your show?
Yeah.
When? You know, it's like, I'm not talking about that. Like, we can support each other in other ways, but if you are like newer and you really want to like get on one of our radars, you should definitely invest some time in supporting. Like when I was new, that was what I did. I would go out, I would meet people. And now, like, when I send somebody a message, like, you know, obviously they're going to get back to me because they've at least heard of me, you know? So it's just interesting how the digital age of, you know, and the social media and everything. I'm like, come meet me, you know? Yeah. I might still say no, but at least you stand a better chance if I've seen your face.
I agree with that. I think there's a lot to be said there in terms of how, you know, artists, especially artists that are trying to work on their original music, introduce themselves to venues too. Like it's, you know, I'm at the point now where my main focus is trying to expand outside of the capital region.
Yep.
And so it's much harder to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of cold outreach.
I hate that, but yes, I get it.
I think, you know, some of the best relationships I've made in with venues in the capital region have been from you know, just going to a bunch of shows there, not even really that strategically, just because they present good music and their, you know, friends play there or stuff like that, and you know, second or third time there, you'll meet the person that runs it, because that's how the venues are around here, you know, and the people care about their venues. They want to see that you support them, not just for the opportunity that they give you, but because they, you know, that's their livelihood too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think what you're saying is good advice, you know, for people, not just for an individual running a series, but like overall, it goes both ways.
It really does. Yeah. And that was just like my little bitter passive aggressive message to some of the people that have been like, I mean, over the years, I can't tell you the amount of like unsolicited just messages that I get for comedy and for music. And there have been times where like, you know, you might catch me like right at the right time, but overall, I mean, I started this series because I know so many amazing musicians already. Like, I'm going to be good for like the first year. If
Yeah.
we get that long. I know who I want. Like, I've already reached out to people. I've already been like, if not this month, that month, but like, I want you, please. And I'm honestly like super flattered of like 100%. Like, they, are
Sure.
excited to do
Yeah.
it. I mean, obviously I have this place. It's not just me, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's really important to, like, you don't have to come to like every single show, and like, that's there's a good balance. Don't be a creep either.
Yeah.
But okay, so
Yeah.
beyond that though, I
Sure.
like, tell me a little bit more about what else you've got coming up.
Well, I'll be at the Hangar on the Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
First week, December 9th. So
Oh,
second,
with the
second
Hold
weekend.
On Honeys.
Hold On Honeys. Yeah, that's my next full band show.
And what's the date of that?
December 9th.
Okay.
It's a Saturday. And I will be doing another little, like, the Luna series and at the studio in Troy. It's a full moon thing. They just started doing it in October, so I'll be doing that on the 27th. So
Very cool.
yeah. So I think I'll be around the capital region mostly through the winter, just because I don't honestly want to drive that much in the winter.
That's very fair.
But I'm trying to plan out some stuff for the spring in a more cohesive way. That's like how I'm looking at it now. I want to rather than having one on this weekend in Buffalo and one, maybe down to Pittsburgh or something, I'm going to try to make it, make sense. People ask me now if I'm touring, and I say no, because I think a tour means there are people there that want you to come there.
Okay.
And so that's my definition of tour. So I've been not wanting to use that language, but there is something I think really important about having a schedule that cohesively, like, that you can promote together, basically. Yeah. And so
and that also just makes geographic sense.
It makes geographic sense as well. Yeah, for sure. There's a routing thing to it, but I think, like, in terms of the promotion that you get from venues, if you're putting it out there that you've got like 10 other things on this schedule and they're also sharing that, it looks good. Yeah, there's a form of legitimacy that their kind of casual audience will get from it, and you probably won't see them the first, second, maybe third time that you're there.
Yeah.
But I think that's an important part of, like, if you're just starting out, making sure that they get the right image of you so that maybe the next time they'll take a chance.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to plan out for the spring. I've been, like, getting my foot in some doors this past year, and I'm going to try to make more sense next year. And yeah, working on, I'm going to do some live releases from my show here in October and some studio releases for, like, people are remote recording and stuff like that. So hoping to release a lot of music next year.
Well, you released something this year already, right?
I did. Yeah, there was a 17-track live album, and 17. Yeah.
That's ambitious.
Yeah. It was from 4 venues, so 4 of my favorite Capital Region venues: Caffe Lena, the Cock and Bull in Galway, Hangar on the Hudson, and the Park Theater in Glens Falls.
Nice.
Different lineups with the band each time. I mixed that myself, which was it was an ambitious project.
Look at you.
I had done some, like, recording demos of stuff so that I could send it to the band.
Yeah.
But never really done a large scale mixing project.
That's impressive.
Spent so much, like, endless hours on it, but pretty happy with the way it came out. And I feel like I've had enough conversations with the people that I play with and other musicians, either passing through here or wherever. I was able to get to the point where I was just happy with what it was.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that if I had given those tracks to a professional mixing engineer, they probably would have sounded different. They probably would have sounded, more like a studio recording, maybe. I mean, the stuff that the material I was working with was really solid.
Yeah.
The engineers were great. But to me, it was more like I just want to see what I can do with it.
That's
You
awesome.
know, like I just I wanted to see what I could do with it and see if I could finish it and see if I could be like accept it for what it was.
And you did.
And I did, and I released it, and I feel really good about it. And that's that now it's there, and that's all there is to
Well,
it.
I
So.
am suitably
Yeah.
impressed. That
Thank
is
you very much.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very ambitious. I like mine would sound very farty if I tried to do that myself. But baby steps. I
Baby
got the
steps,
podcast, and then
Yeah.
So where can people find your music?
So I like to tell people to go to my website.
You can do that.
Yeah. So reesefulmer.com is a place to start, because then you can explore, who plays with me and where I'm going to be playing next. And there's links off to my music from there, but it's also on streaming sites. Most of what I've released is under Reese Fulmer and the Carriage House Band. There's one song that's under me solo.
Isn't that such a pain in the ass? I've had a couple different band names, and I'm like, there's like 6 or 7 of me you have to look up.
Yeah.
But
It is. And it's like I'm still trying to figure out how I should release music, like I think that it's going to be both.
Yeah.
I think that some of the stuff I release next year is just going to be under my name.
Yeah, that's smart.
But it's so maybe just like the live releases will be under the band because it's with the band. I don't know. It's always
to be cohesive. It should you should
Yeah.
just have your own channel, like Reese Fulmer. Like
I
mean,
think
unless
so.
you think the guys are going to get butthurt, but you have like 75 of them, so
I
they
don't
can't
think
all
they
get
will.
mad.
Yeah, no, I don't think they will.
It's just
and
easier to find. It just makes
Yeah.
the most sense.
Yeah. Well, I've had. I mean, my name is not the easiest to like. I don't know. People hear it wrong.
Don't even with
like,
me.
Yeah, they're and so people sometimes, like, if I'm saying it from the stage, I'll say my name, like I'll be like, you can find my name under Reese Fulmer. You can also just search Carriage House Band,
Yeah.
and that will also bring me up. So it's like that's a little bit. It's more recognized. Like Carriage House Band are all words that people know.
Sure. That's nice. I've been Erin, Karen, Erica,
Yeah.
Eric. Harks, Harper, Hart, like it blows my mind how many manipulations of my name people have come up with. It's interesting. So I get that.
So you gotta.
I get that frustration.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I will be sure to tag and everything with your name,
Sure.
so that people can just click and
All
make
right.
it as easy
Yeah.
as possible for them.
Sounds good.
So what is your very next show?
Here. Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yes. Wednesday, November 29th.
Yep.
Yes. In the round with Erin Harks, Carolyn Shapiro, Matt Griffin, kicking off the Lena Go Round series, an ongoing monthly, right?
Yep.
Yep.
The last
Wednesday of the month.
Yep.
At Caffe Lena. I'm very tempted to go into a whole pitch here. But it really, but all I should really say is that it's a really special room. And for, any show you see here it's a shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I think that's, for people that aren't used to the listening room, that's probably the first thing that sticks out to them, regardless of what the music is that they're seeing. It's just much more of a collective experience than if you go to a large venue, or if you go to a venue where like the music and the rest of the activity through the space is not necessarily intimately connected.
Yeah.
And so I think that for a series where the songwriters on stage will be on their own sharing an experience, then to invite the audience in to that, and there will be a lot of collaboration there. I think it'll be really special.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good. I think it's a great format for this room. Very much looking forward to kicking it off.
I am looking forward to it as well. I can't wait to play with you and share the stage with you.
Thank you.
At long last, we will have our cooperative.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Was it
I hope
cooperative
so.
or collaborative?
Cooperative. I'm
Cooperative.
glad that you remember that.
I do.
Yeah,
well, because then I saw you at the co-op in Albany.
Oh, that's right.
Before my last show here,
Yeah.
or my only show
Yeah.
here, and I was
Yeah.
like, co-op.
Yeah.
So it all come full
yeah.
circle.
I mean, and that was mostly, like, I won't ramble on it, but that was mostly the point of what we were doing. I don't think any of us had grand illusions about what we might accomplish with it, because we all knew, like, it was kind of dependent on us having all of the time to talk about it. But it was fun to explore that, just the structure of a cooperative, basically, and like what it would look like if, rather than talking about it in sort of like, the Capital Region music scene, I think, a lot of people will agree that it's collaborative and that people are kind of pushing for each other.
It's getting more so by the minute, I'm finding.
Yeah, and like, I think that we're recognizing that the more resources and opportunities we can share, the more that it benefits all of us. It's not like it's not like people are throwing each other down to get on top.
Exactly. There's so much for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think so what was exciting for us was to explore what it would look like if that were formalized,
Well, maybe now this
yeah.
is kind of what we're doing. We've come full circle.
We'll see. Yeah.
Hey, let's kick it off.
Yeah.
We'll see what's going on. But
Yeah,
this is
for
a
sure.
good first step. So thank you so much for meeting
Thanks,
with me
Erin.
today here
Yeah.
at the beautiful Caffe Lena. We'll see you back here at Caffe Lena on November 29th and every last Wednesday of every month for as long as we can.
Yes.
And it's been such a pleasure talking with you, Reese Fulmer.
Yes.
And my name is Erin Harks. This is Mistress of None, and we will be right back.
You're listening to the Mistress of None podcast with Erin Harks.
Welcome back to Mistress of None. I am Erin Harks. That was Reese Fulmer. I wanted to touch upon real quick one of the things that we brought up during the interview, because I know that I'm sure that I've discussed this before, and I know I complain a lot online about people that reach out to me that seem to always want something from me. I had somebody one time say that basically I should be flattered that people hold me in such a high regard. But to me, that's kind of like saying that, a boy likes you if he punches you in the arm when you're in elementary school. And it's like, that's, that doesn't flatter me. That it would flatter me if these people even attempted to get to know me. But I have to be very careful about how I say this, because here's the thing. There's a way to do things. I think social awareness is key. Like, you have to just be aware. You have to have good timing. You have to know. Like, I ask people for stuff all the time. A lot of the opportunities that I get are because I asked for it. And it's not always easy, and you're going to get rejected a lot, and you just have to be ready for that. And it sucks. Having people ignore you or say no to you sucks. But you know what? It's fucking part of life. And nobody owes you anything. But for me, I can tell that things are going well for me when more people want something from me and when I start becoming seemingly very popular. But, and again, this is where I have to be careful, because I want to say, you can't just introduce yourself to me in a fucking Facebook message when I'm out like 3 or 4 nights a week, when I'm constantly working. Like, if I would be more apt to listen to something that you sent me or watch something that you sent me if I met you in person. I still might say no, and I'm sorry, but that's a chance you have to take. I'm definitely going to say no if I have no idea who you are, if I've never met you before, if you've never once been out to support a single thing that I've done, and you just send me something and want me to listen or watch it. There's no chance. There's no chance. I'm just going to open it and play it. I get so much shit sent to me all the time. I don't have the time, first of all. And I don't want to take the chance of listening to something. Somebody sent me something one time that was so horrible that I'm still traumatized and I just can't go opening things willy-nilly. So, I mean, it's important that you go out and you support. And I know that if you're also in the arts and if you're also a creative, I know that how hard it is to go out and support other people. But when you're first starting out, this is how you network. This is how you make connections. A lot of the opportunities that have been afforded to me have been because I make connections with people and I network and I get on people's radar and I don't piss them off. And I know I haven't always done it flawlessly, and I know I haven't always been the best, friendliest person in the world, but I think I've done all right for myself, locally at least, which is fine. I'm quite satisfied with that. But there's a way to do it. And it just blows my mind, honestly, like that, the way people do things these days and hope that it's going to create something for them. I had a gentleman who just started sending me stuff about 7 years ago. And this is the advice that some people say. They go, oh, just ignore it. So I did. So I ignored it for a little bit. And then it kept happening. And then it was starting to annoy me. So I was very polite. I just said, thank you very much. I'm too busy to listen, to open this, to do whatever. And I just want to know what you think about this. And I said, I appreciate that, but I don't have time. I'm sorry. And then I got another thing sent to me. And I said, listen, I've asked you nicely to not send me this stuff. Well, I thought maybe if you had some time. I was like, I don't have time. I'm not going to listen to it. Please stop sending it to me. So now I've said twice to stop. And he sent me something else a few months later, and I just blocked him. Because I tried to ignore you. I tried to be polite with you. You're clearly not getting it, and now you're blocked. So fast forward to a couple of months ago, I get a message from this woman, and the name sounds familiar to me, but we hadn't had any previous discussion, so I couldn't really place her. And I realized that this woman was the other half of this partnership with this man who had started messaging me. And I said, you know what, I'm all full right now. I'm all set. I'm not accepting any submissions for the Caffe Lena thing. I already know who I'm working with the first few times. And I was like, your best bet would honestly to come and support this so that it becomes a continuous event, and maybe there will be a chance for you somewhere down the road. And she goes, okay, I'll follow up with you, or I'll reach back out some other time or something like that. And I'm like, no, no, you're missing the point. I don't know. Maybe I'm built differently. I love working with like-minded people who just know how it works. And I'm sure that I have had my moments. I'm sure there's somebody listening right now who's like, you used to bug the shit out of me. And for that, I'm sorry. I can only hope that I've learned something from it since then. I usually have like a 2-message rule. Like I'll message somebody twice, and if I don't hear back, then that's it. And there's some people that I may follow up with a little bit more than that because they've unfortunately given me an inch at one point, and I still think that there's a chance. But ultimately, you just got to like take your lumps and move on. But I would never expect somebody who has never ever met me or never even heard of me. Like now I'm in a good position where I can message somebody and ask them for something, or even ask to just like get to know them. There's this local male musician who was kind of doing the same thing I wanted to do before I started doing all the covers all the time. And I really wanted to get on his radar because he kind of had the work at the time that I wanted. And I messaged him and I said, I know we don't know one another, but I would really love to just get together with you and have a cup of coffee if you're so inclined or available. And because he kind of knew who I was already, he agreed to it, and we became friends, and I was on his radar. And a couple weeks later, I filled in for him just because I just happened to be on his radar. I filled in for him. And I started to get better gigs after that. And I was like very grateful for that. I took a chance. If he had said no to the coffee, it just would have been, okay. I tried. But keep in mind, he had already heard of me. I was already fairly established in the area. So if you're a complete and total stranger, like I appreciate a certain level of tenacity, but like you gotta you got to, I don't know, ease your way in. Just show up. You know, I still might say no, but don't introduce yourself to me through a Facebook message and expect me to like listen to your demo or let you open for me or let you work on one of my shows. I'm just, I maybe I sound like a huge colossal bitch right now, and I don't care. That's just how I feel. Like I said, I'm very tired and navigating a lot of new areas in my life right now with the changes that I've made in my career, and a lot of it involves selling a lot of tickets to a lot of things so that I can sustain, so that I can survive, and it's eating up a lot of my free time, and it's fine. I'm happy with the choices that I've made, but it's been a lot of work. And I'm not afraid of work. I'm no stranger to working hard, so I'm going to keep working hard. I'm just hoping that the right people like hear this and like maybe take a little bit of advice and just figure out how to approach. And again, this is not an invitation to just come to my show and just like hand me some shit either. Like just be easy, folks, you know? Like just show up. Take your chances. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Because, I mean, of course, yes, I suggest that you introduce yourself first in person, but there's still no guarantees in life is what I'm trying to say. So if you haven't turned it off completely yet, then thanks for listening. Please come to Caffe Lena a week from today. Tickets are on my website, erinharks.com. Feel free to sign up for my mailing list. I'll be sending out some buy one, get one free ticket things to the comedy special, which is 2 weeks. Also, if you're not in the area, just sign up for my mailing list because it's relatively painless. It does not go out that often. And I have this album coming out that we all need to like download right around the same time so that I can chart on iTunes. So you can live anywhere to do that. It'll be like 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, December 6th. So we're going to circle the wagons and we're going to make this happen. Thank you all. If you're still listening, thank you so much. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean they're not good people. Tune in, like, share, follow, all that good stuff. I love you all so much. I hope to see you out. And thanks again for tuning in. I'm going to go take a nap. Okay. Love you all. Bye-bye.